partner. What do you want to do today? Murder on the beat.
Oh, we're doing something.
Give me the keys, cocksucker motherfucker! That's my bit.
You talking to me?
Bits.
Oh,
Seriously.
This is fine. Just this, anything here, just with the four of us, is absolutely perfect.
What's up? You are watching The Usual Suspects. Welcome, you're about to have the time of your life. Today we are going to be reviewing the movie of the moment. What's it called, boys?
Avengers Infinity War!
Yeah, bitches, it's happening. We're going to be talking spoilers, we're going to be talking characters, CGI, death, life. You're going to find out everything and more about this movie. If you haven't seen it, there's going to be spoilers, so don't complain. Who are you?
We in this bitch.
I'm the uncanny Andrew.
Yeah. I'm Hainsley, aka The Geek, aka The Critic.
I'm Young Ards, follow me on Twitter at @Adam, but we'll get into that later. You might see my opinions and shit, boy! Yeah!
I'm just Alex, I've got no AKAs or nothing. Just Alex, that's it.
Just out. Yeah, so stay tuned because it's about to get very brittle.
So basically, us three saw it together for the first time.
Yes.
Hainsley, did you actually go on your own?
I did. I went by myself both times. I'm a solo cinema man. I do it. I like a solo experience.
Yeah.
I'm all about it. But yeah, I've seen it twice. You've seen it twice.
I've seen it twice.
Twice.
Once.
Once.
Yeah, it's one
Okay.
time.
So double trouble here.
Okay, so let's talk about the movie. Let's talk about firstly the premise of the film. So
Okay.
so tell me what was this movie about?
So, Avengers Infinity War, culmination of 19 films in the MCU. We've got a big bad Thanos. He's collecting these Infinity Stones because he wants to wipe out half the population. And obviously our heroes have got to stop him. I think that's the general premise.
Oh yeah.
Unless I missed it.
Accumulation of 10 years, I didn't realise that until you told me.
10 years.
Like, that's a lot.
When they did that at the beginning of the movie though, did you not think what was that 10 for? Because it says Marvel Studios,
yeah,
and then the I and the O
I
turns
remember
into a 10.
I kind of did, yeah, passed me by.
Went right over his head.
Yeah,
It's fine, fine. 10 years. What did you make of the first, say, that first scene, those first maybe 10 minutes it was? Those first 10 minutes, what were you feeling, what was going through your head in those first 10 minutes?
I wondered, like, because there was jeopardy immediately, and I sort of wondered where, you know, how are you going to regenerate the sense of
fear?
Fear and jeopardy when you're already like, but they did it really well throughout, you know, that kind of building up these moments of like feeling like you're going to lose people, you know, people are going to go. But yeah, in the first 10, I mean, the guys on the floor, help me out here, character. Yeah, he's on the floor, and I was like, okay, they're not messing around here. They're obviously going to go quite far. If that's their starting point.
Yeah.
And you know, Loki essentially gets it right.
Yeah.
I think he's coming back.
You guys know spoilers. You know spoilers. We're going to spoil everything.
Loki got crushed.
Yeah.
In like the first 10 minutes, and he's, you know, he may not be a major character, but he's a popular character.
Yeah,
I
think he's had an arc.
I think he's a major character.
I guess he's not one of the major good Avenger characters.
Yeah.
So like,
but he's one of the only villains who was recurring.
And who could effectively kind of switch sides as well. So yeah.
As a fan, before this movie, if there's something, if you were to say to me, how are you gonna show that Thanos is a badass? Like, how are you gonna show that Thanos like is a boss? Like early on, what do you do? In my head, as a fan, I want to see him go toe to toe with the Hulk because he's the Avengers' big mouth. He's the badass on the Avengers, man. So when that classic scene comes, we've got Hulk, and Hulk boosts in, starts taking shots at Thanos, and then you're like, oh, this is the Falcon. I knew it. I was like, me and you were just like vibrating in our seats. And then that moment is like, oh, I let Thanos have his fun.
Yeah, like fake Donald Gleason.
We just watched it was Tyson. This guy was Tyson. Just I can't even. But that seeing that was like, okay, Thanos is someone to be feared.
But even leading up to that, I think what really like cemented it was the fact that Loki's standing there. Where's Thor? He's on the floor. He's been murked.
Or Loki and Hulk all in the first 10 minutes can't touch this guy.
Exactly, and that sets it. That sets the tone. That sets the story for the entire film. And I think that's a perfect starting point.
And you know what was a great shift? I mean, even though we're still talking about the first scene here, a great shift was Thor Ragnarok came from obviously, Waikiki
Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi.
If you're watching this, I'm sorry, he said. You know. We're still talking about first 10 minutes. Maybe talking about transitioning of tone and stuff like that.
That's exactly.
But those first 10 minutes for me, anyway, were. This is talking about my first thing of the film. Those first 10 minutes represented the tone I wanted for the majority of the film. For me,
which was what? How would you just like
summarize? Threat, genuine threat, genuine fear, actual consequences. Three things that the MCU hasn't not failed on, but they sort of pussied out a little bit.
It was essential.
So they tease it in a lot of movies. They go, "Oh, people are going to die. It's going to be really dark," and then nobody gets hurt, and everyone survives. And I'm like, "You lied to me, didn't you? You gave me a little mission statement, and then they sort of heal themselves. And like, you sort of told me a lie there. You sold me a dream." But in this first 10 minutes, every problem that I've had with other MCU movies, they were like, "You got a problem with this? All right, he's dead. He's dead. You got a problem with threat? I'm going to have him scared the shit out of you."
That whole team.
All of them. For that 10 minutes, I was scared, I was frightened, I was shocked. And I was in awe of everything that I saw for those 10 minutes. And I was like, firstly, if they keep this up for an hour, I'll probably pass out. Like, honestly,
they did maintain that. They maintained.
I mean, they did. Not that level of. I mean, it got quippier. It did get quippier.
Which was good.
At the beginning of that scene,
he talked too much. And it was just enough. But even then, the first time I watched that, I was like, don't pop the bubble on that tension, because I like that tension. Right? And that's the problem I have with Marvel. It's like, they like to pop the bubble on that tension.
Guardians failed in that sense.
And he luckily did it just enough that I was like, I'm going to let that slide.
Do you think that was necessary to show that tonal shift from Ragnarok?
Yeah, that he's still that person.
He's still the same character.
But like I said, it was just enough. So I was alright with it. He didn't go on like little monologues, or he wasn't trying to burst the bubble. He was just like, I'm this new person, so this is how I'm going to respond in this situation.
And like, leading on from that as well, like, it can be said that like Infinity War like undoes a lot that Ragnarok does. So for example, like, one of the main messages of Ragnarok is Thor isn't his hammer. And then in this movie, we sort of see him go, I need a hammer. You know, I need a weapon, sort of thing. And then his eye as well. That's a big thing. Loses his eye, comes straight back. But the fact that we've got a funnier Thor, a more memorable Thor, a much more powerful Thor.
They make changes to characters, but they put these characters into an arc that makes sense and it's real. They don't you don't go from one movie, oh, the character's one way, and then the next movie just completely. You really feel there's a natural progression, but also it's believable, the motives. So, for example, okay, his eye got replaced. But Guardians 2 came out like a year before that, and that's where Rocket Raccoon got the eye.
Continuity is important. It's world building on another level.
That's what Marvel do well. You've got one person steering the ship, and you've got all these execs like Favreau, James Gunn, and the Russos. They're all in cahoots with each other. Taika Waititi, I want to do this, I want to do this. As long as it ends here.
That tonal balance is something I think the whole MCU has done so well. And with this film especially, where they had to keep like the fun, the wit, the fear, everything all balancing together, and all these other films, because you're introducing every character you've introduced almost, bar a few, but they've all come in and they've kept this tone. That's incredible. I don't know how they've managed to do that.
It was like an equation I was trying to figure out, and they just managed to make it work, but make it look quite effortless as well. Moving forward from that, it's still talking about Thanos, so. As a villain, what do you think makes him a memorable villain? Like,
personally, what has made him the best villain is that.
So the best villain.
I'm gonna say one of the best, if not the best, is that. Firstly, he's not somebody that looks at himself as a villain. As far as he's concerned, he's the hero. And actually, I'm doing everybody a favour. And what they did in explaining his backstory in this movie, which I got even more so on the second viewing, is that. On his planet, he saw death. He warned them. So it was almost like a Krypton thing where Jor-El tried to warn Kryptonians about the destruction of Krypton, and nobody listened, and all these people died. He tried to warn all the people on Titan that there will be this death and starvation, and we're all going to die, and nobody listened.
He was deemed a madman.
And he was deemed a madman, and he was like, "You're a prophet," and he was like. I don't want this to happen to anybody else. So basically, he took the lesson from his own planet. He took it too far, we can agree. But the moral lesson he learned from that made sense.
There is ways to justify a villain's actions, but I think they did it in a very different way to the way they did it with, say, Killmonger in Black Panther.
Yeah.
Because Killmonger, I mean, you do empathise with Killmonger a lot because of his upbringing, what he went through, but he takes things to extremes. Yeah. He has a vendetta against, you know.
It's ever so slightly like the Marvel syndrome of this guy goes crazy for no reason sort of thing. Killmonger's got his reasonings obviously, but he sort of, as you said, goes a bit off on a tangent sort of.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas with Thanos, his motivations, you just hit the nail on the head. I can't expand any more upon it. His motivations was just explained perfectly.
Not that Killmonger's weren't, like he did, but it didn't make us side with him.
Yeah.
On that topic, maybe discuss about the Black Order, and obviously he's got the Black Order, which is Proxima Midnight, Ebony Maw, Corvus Glaive, and Black Dwarf, or I think it's called something like Cullian Cull. In essence, they're the children of Thanos. So what that is they're not all related in the sense that they might not be from the same planet, but Thanos, when he goes to planets and he wipes out, he'll adopt someone, he'll bring them in. So that this is why all the powers are different, all the power levels are different, and this is why I personally think, I've read a few reviews where people have said that they were underdeveloped, and I actually think they did exactly what I needed this movie to. You know, I needed them to accomplish in this movie, and I actually think Ebony Maw was the standout for me.
Yeah, the Donald Gleason sort of coconut-faced one.
The one with the posh voice. Squidward.
He seemed powerful, you know. He seemed like he could do some damage to people.
And it was good to have someone, because you have this movie with so many different powers, so many different power levels, and to have characters like how do you
differentiate?
Yeah, differentiate from, exactly. And how do you fight with these powers? So. He kind of had this like telekinesis type energy, which could, you know, counter Doctor Strange's abilities, and it was interesting to have those kind of like characters who could fight well with other characters and create a good dynamic. You had like Doctor Strange type fight battles in the sky and air energy blast. You had that hand-to-hand combat battles with Captain America and other members of the Black Order. So throughout this movie, you have so many different types of battles, so many different types of levels that you get everything that you want.
It doesn't fall into that trope that trope of it's the Avengers fighting mindless goons.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that battle on Wakanda is epic, but it's not. That's not the fight
of the movie.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's not the final. Like, that's not the end game.
Yeah, so even to the point where you have Thor and the Guardians meeting up, and then it makes it so much more, I don't know, so much more real when the Guardians then meet up with Tony and they're like, we're the Avengers. Oh, you're the Avengers. And then you're kind of like, wow, they've done this all in one movie, man.
Yeah.
Like
It's a real like chess masterpiece in terms of, obviously, I mean, you've got the pieces down there, so that's great. So if you imagine you are a filmmaker and somebody just dumps all of these characters with all these different continuities, and they're like, right, you have to write one cohesive story for all these people and give them all arcs and something to do and give them all payoffs. I'll see you in 2 years.
But if you actually break it down, like, everything was so well thought out, and it wouldn't have worked if it was otherwise. Like, it just...
None of the fights felt contrived. Because sometimes in some movies, DC, sometimes you feel like, for no reason, a fight breaks out. You don't know why, you're just watching and you're like, oh, okay, they're fighting, I don't know why. Oh, look, some shit's moving in slow motion. Okay, cool. They're punching, there's an explosion, the end. But I felt like every conflict in this movie was earned and justified. None of the fights suddenly broke out of nowhere. Everybody had an objective, and within that objective, natural conflicts arose. So, you know, going back to the Black Order, they came to Earth. He sent them, there's 2 more stones on Earth. Go and get them. That's why they came here. That's why they're in New York, because Doctor Strange has got one of them. So they didn't just go to New York for no reason, because I was like, why is the fight always happening in New York? Doctor Strange is in New York. That's why they're there. Why is there conflict? Because they're going to protect the stones. So everything made perfect sense.
And there was they weren't battling amongst millions of people who were about to kind of, you know, thousands of people who were about to die. Everything was on another world, another planet, but you still felt the stakes were so high because Thanos was using the lives of other characters as a motivation for, you know, to get what he wants. So
their CV for evil henchmen is just amazing. Like, if there are any supervillains out there that want to hire some evil henchmen, these guys are actually sick. on what they do.
So, pick your top 3 standout characters
in the movie
in
itself.
this movie. So, which 3 characters were you like? These were the people that impressed me the most.
I always like Tony Stark. Like, he's my favourite character in the whole MCU. So every time he's on screen, I'm always like, okay, cool.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
He's grounding everything for me.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
He's
yeah.
the heart of the whole thing, really, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So he's always up there for me.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick. It's hard to pick individuals. I did like the interactions between Thor and Star-Lord. I thought that was a highlight of the movie for me. Star-Lord's always good because Chris Pratt brings that charisma and stuff.
Are you saying Thor then? Because you chose the interaction.
Yeah, you're right. But I like them
together.
together. I just thought that was a highlight of the film. They're kind of, going back to what you were saying about how these people interact with each other. They work very well together. But I like Star-Lord because I just like. For me, a lot of the best MCU movies are the funnier ones. You know?
Okay.
Like I personally like Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man, where they bring a lot of that humour to the front. I think they tend to work very well. So Star-Lord is always up there. What about you? Who else?
Tough. I tell you what though, Thor won me over in this movie.
You're not a fan of
I
Thor?
wasn't a few. No, I could have taken or left Thor. First 2 Avengers movie, he's alright. I mean, he looks great. He's muscly as fuck.
Even the first 2 Thor movies.
Yeah, even the first 2 Thor movies, I was like,
Yeah,
but after Ragnarok, I was like, this Hemsworth guy's funny. You know?
Yeah, he is funny.
He's really
got
funny.
good timing.
And they made him cool. I didn't think
that's
Thor
true.
was cool before Ragnarok. When I saw what they was doing with his powers, I was like, this guy's fucking cool. And I watched him in this film, and I think he and Thanos have the best emotional journeys. I think Thor's journey in this movie emotionally was epic. I think his whole arc with generating the energy of a dying star to create the hammer and Groot cutting off his arm to make that. I just thought all of that was just.
And when he turned, that was one of the biggest moments in the cinema.
When he turned up,
comes back, you guys,
That was
the whole cinema was like,
sick.
oh,
That was a standout moment for
Everyone
them.
clapped. Everyone stood up and clapped.
That was the Wonder Woman BVS moment.
Yeah.
That bit was
amazing.
Oh,
That's the first time you saw Thor in the MCU looking like he does in the comics.
Yeah.
When they're all in trouble and shit's, just everything looks like it's going to just fall
He's
to
got
pieces.
that shot where he's
And
in the
just-
sky.
He was taking
that was
people
taken
out.
straight from the comic books, and I was so he won me over. So he's like my
with
number
glowing
one.
eyes,
The panels in his chest were lit up as well, and I was like,
that was a great
sick.
moment.
I would say I got to put Thanos in there.
Yeah, no, that's a good shout.
I have to put Thanos in there. I mean, as a performance,
Yeah, it was great.
as a character.
Coming to it new as well, like he's got no previous to build on
Yeah,
himself.
and I feel, but I don't even want to call him a villain. I just
No,
want to call him a character. I don't want to diminish what he represents by just calling him a villain. Number 3's tough. I'm probably gonna say, I might say Stephen Strange.
Man, he
I
was so
might say, I think I'm gonna have to go.
Great.
He was an absolute pimp in this movie.
Agreed.
Like, I was just like, this guy is a G. He is a G. The way, and you got to think about it, he stood up to Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Right? So that's no mean feat in and of itself. Like, when Robert was quipping, he gave it right back and he stood toe to toe. So verbally, he stood toe to toe for Iron Man. Physically, solo, he took on Thanos. Like, on my ones, I took on Thanos with the gauntlet.
If we're going for top 3 characters, like exactly the same as you, I'll go Thor, Thanos, and I'd go Strange and Tony Stark as like a pair. Because I loved Doctor Strange in this film. I thought everything he did in this film is what I wanted the original movie to be, Doctor Strange movie. Him with his arms just bending like that and then just coming multiple.
Visually was brilliant as well.
Were
Fantastic.
you not really
fantastic.
feeling the Doctor Strange movie?
Well, no, I really liked it. I really liked it.
Wanted
But
more of what was this in that
I wanted like crazy stuff. Like I was
Well,
literally
you-
casting dragons of fire and water, and one was like Dumbledore was like. Found sound anything in that bit. It's just bad. It just doesn't make any sense. But like I wanted like the Winds of Watum and like all these mad words to come out and stuff. But like just what we had of Strange in this movie is what I wanted Doctor Strange to. I want man when he throws the mirror dimension at Thanos.
Yeah,
and just,
yeah.
So you said your top 3 were
Okay, so
Star-Lord.
Stark for sure.
Stark.
Thanos, I'm just going to rip everyone else off now. Thanos is a good shout.
Yeah.
Strange, I totally forgot about, and I thought he was great in this movie.
Yeah.
And I really liked the Doctor Strange movie. Actually, it's one of my favourites of the MCU. I thought it was very like psychedelic and visually very interesting, and I like his powers.
You love doing the movements.
The cape is always like great value, right?
Yeah.
So
you're gonna go Stark.
I'm just gonna change my whole order.
Okay.
Stark, Thanos, Strange. There you go.
And I'm gonna say Thanos, Strange, and Thor.
Yeah, I go Thanos, Strange, Thor, extending to Tony Stark as well.
Yeah, you can't go without saying Thanos. I think the same. I have to say Doctor Strange as well, because it was important, and I got to back my boy Spidey.
I knew he was going to do that. I was waiting.
Because number one, he gave me probably the most emotional gut punch the movie had.
Which we'll come back to.
And especially because I felt like it was very hard, to pull off dying in that way, because for me, a lot of those other... a lot of the other deaths, I mean, so when Thanos wipes out half of, existence, and everyone starts kind of disintegrating to powder, it's quite hard to make you really feel for those characters. Yeah. I mean, for example, Cap and Winter Soldier. When Winter Soldier was piecing out, I didn't really feel like Cap was on fire. What the fuck's going down? But I didn't really, I was like, okay, people disintegrating. But Spider-Man managed to make that for me hit.
I've got to ask, as like fans of the MCU, knowing that there's other movies, like the way they announce their movies in advance and the way they plan so far ahead, and we all know about that. You're going into this movie, people are going to die. Like it had to be done. But it's still a little bit difficult to maintain that sense of emotional impact when you know that they're going to bring it back.
Yeah,
it's not the what they're doing, it's the how.
Yeah.
So I don't mind knowing that they're going to come back as long as every beat along the way is justified. So if I believe the way they die, even if I know they're going to come back, I can still feel it. As long as they don't make them come back in a shit way.
And it doesn't overlap immediately like Superman's death, where you see the dirt rising straight away.
I feel like for this, it's more of a Empire Strikes Back towards the end. Like, man, these guys lost. Han Solo's, I don't know what the hell's happened to him.
Death of Captain America. The spoiler isn't Captain America's going to die. It's how are we going to get to that point where he does die.
Who do you think isn't coming back?
Loki shouldn't.
Loki. I think it's the only. I think Gamora's coming back because they're doing a Guardians 3, and you can't have Guardians 3 without Gamora.
I think
why not though?
I think you can.
Yeah, I think you could.
No, don't make me put down another bet. No, but I think from a Marvel perspective, in a team movie like Guardians, which only has one roster, you can't lose a player. It's not like the Avengers where we have rolling rosters and people come and leave.
Well, they added players. They added Mantis.
Yeah, but I think Gamora is so pivotal to that team.
But doing that in Avengers 4 is almost giving Thanos a win when he needs to lose.
Doing what?
Bringing Gamora back.
I think part of him losing will mean that Gamora will come back. I think something.
But that will be him winning as well.
But I think Gamora's arc is like done almost because like her whole thing, I'm the daughter of Thanos. I hate Thanos, and like once Thanos is like done, say in Avengers 4, I don't think she should. I think everyone who had like an instant death in this film shouldn't come back.
I can understand how she doesn't come back, and I would be all for it, and I understand it. But from a business perspective, and who people go to see those movies for, I think you would be crazy to be like, I'm just going to kick Gamora out.
I personally don't want Gamora back, and I think if they do, I will be a bit... Do you guys think Vision's going to come back?
There is that bit where Banner says, he's not just a stone. There's a bit of me, there's a bit of Jarvis, there's a bit of Tony, there's a bit of Ultron in there.
And if she's pro-sex, she's talking about its trillions of units of data. If she has extracted even the like a hard drive, he is like a hard drive, right?
Exactly.
And so if you've extracted a level of data, then you can recreate him to some degree because that data is stored somewhere. And if that's the case, you're saying you saw it. And plus, the tech in Wakanda is so advanced, even when she was analysing it, that stuff she was analysing would have probably recorded some of that trillions that was there anyway. So that's not even that unfeasible that she could be like, well, we recorded this much data, we could replicate this aspect of him.
Let's talk about how we're going to rate this movie in alignment with the rest of the MCU universe. Where would we place this movie with our MCU films? Where would we rank it?
We'll do a rating out of 10 for the film.
Yep.
And then you put that rating and then put it in your top 5 MCU movies.
Top 5.
I need to do homework.
See, first time I came out, I gave it a 9.5. Second time, I gave it a 9. But I had more time to think about it, so it evolved more towards a 9.5 because the things that I didn't like the first time, which for the record were the fact that our characters didn't have very intimate deaths, was rectified the second time round because I understood Thanos, he's not a villain. He doesn't want to kill these Avengers. Exactly. I'm going to go 9.4. 9.4 Infinity Stones out of 10.
And give us your top 5.
Okay, I'm bold here. I'm going Infinity War number 1.
Jeez! Straight in there at number
2,
1.
I'm going Winter Soldier.
Jeez. I love Winter Soldier.
Man. 3, I'm going Civil War.
So the Russo brothers are top 3.
Shout out to the Russos. Shout out to the Russos. You know what? I'm saying it with my chest.
Okay, do it.
And what I'm saying with my chest is that I'm not going top 5, I'm going top 3. And that's it. That's all I'll say for now.
Infinity War,
Winter Soldier,
Civil War.
Civil War, yeah.
Basically, Russos. The Russos have bossed it. I'm going to give you some more time to think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go.
This movie gave me the maddest feels I don't think a movie's given me since...
Did you cry? Did you cry?
No, I didn't cry, but I was like...
It was enough to make a grown man.
Yeah.
He felt it in his left chest.
I felt it, but throughout the whole movie. I don't think, as a movie experience, this might be in my top 3 cinema experiences ever. So I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. And
10 out of 10 is there to be given, man. If it succeeds,
yeah.
if it succeeds what it sets out to do, you can't compare this to Godfather. You know what I mean? It's like this is a different movie. If it succeeds in its aim,
and bear just to compare this, I wouldn't give any other MCU movie a 10 out of 10.
This is the moment where we'd put like some heavenly sounds when you say 10.
Look, I'd love to say Spider-Man Homecoming. I'd love to say Civil War, but I think I should probably say Iron Man, out of respect.
Okay. You owe it to...
I think we owe that to Robert Downey Jr. and the entire MCU. So
I'm going to go next because yours is going to be probably better considered than mine.
Go on. Mark it out of 10 first.
I want to say 8.5 or 9.
Okay.
I'm going to go 8.5.
Okay.
Top 3. I would have to say. See, there's certain films I find very similar. Like this one is very similar to the Avengers. Like the Avengers movies are kind of. If I had Avengers in there, I would take it out and replace it with this one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense to have.
Yeah, I'm looking to have 3 sort of different films. So this is in there for sure. It's like one of the best experiences I've had in the cinema watching the MCU movie. So it's definitely in there. I don't think it's number 1. I think number 1 might be Guardians of the Galaxy. I just found it funny. It was fresh. It was a really fresh
I can't argue with that though.
No, that's
I had a great time watching it. It took me by surprise a little bit. New characters, something about it, I want to say Iron Man because I love Stark, but I'm going to say Iron Man 3 because.
Woo! I love it.
I know people haven't that movie.
Like just napalm. This is the Mandarin.
I'm interested to hear why the reactions, but
I need to double down on this so I'll make sure I'm here properly. So you're going Infinity War, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Say it, man. Say it.
Iron Man 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm with by it. I've only watched it once.
Shit happened.
That's it. But seriously,
alright.
What's the reactions?
What to what you said?
Yeah.
It's because probably none of us think Iron Man 3 is the best of the Iron Man movies. That's why. Is that why?
Yeah.
Is that why? Yeah.
Iron Man 3 is a good movie, but it's not a good Iron Man movie.
I don't think it's a good anything.
But you got to rate first, right?
Yeah, rating. On the second viewing, when I wasn't, running at 100 miles an hour on a journey and taking everything in, I had a chance to really look at the interactions and the dialogue and appreciate Thanos even more. So off the second viewing and what I would consider a really well-reasoned perspective viewing, I'd probably say a strong 9, maybe like a 9.2. Like I think the movie's really strong. I think it will stand up to multiple repeat viewings. Yeah. I think it's one of those movies that will only get better with each viewing. Like there isn't a box that this film set out to tick that it didn't tick. So in that respect, I guess I can see why you gave it 10. I guess it is kind of a perfect movie. Yeah. So
it's hard to find a flaw.
It's hard to find a flaw with it, and it is a massive feat of like fucking engineering. I'm gonna have to put it first. I'm grappling with Winter Soldier, Black Panther, it's the only other movie that has focused on one world and realised that world fully.
Yeah.
No other MCU movie's done that. And I responded probably one of the most viscerally, emotionally to this film. Like, I cared about all of the cultural context and everything. So I don't know if it's going to be a 2 or 3, but it's definitely in there. But yeah, Winter Soldier, I don't know if it's going to be 2 or 3, but Winter Soldier's got to go in there. So I guess it's and I have to put Black Panther in there. So I think those are going to be my 3.
Nice. That's good. Nice. So I'm going to go, so 10 out of 10, we'll say 9.2.
Yeah.
9.4.
8.7.
Do you agree? Who do you agree with?
Yeah.
Why?
Why?
Leave your comments below.
Yeah,
at us on our social networks.
Questions, what do you want to hear? And yeah, this is the usual suspects.
Signing out.
Sign out.